What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest show from the cave. Let's take it in. You know, Jay-Z said, let him wait. So let's let him wait. Thank you. Welcome to the newest segment from the cave called Occult Anime. What's poppin'?
Shit.
All right. So, you know, we've been teasing this project for a while, and this is something that we wanted to do. So we were like, fuck it, let's go and do it. Occult anime, and also on the other side of this coin, we got cinematic symbolisms, where we break down the symbolisms in cinematic movies. So it's pretty much self-explanatory. Occult anime. I'm wearing the Dragon Ball colors. We got over here. We're going to talk about some Dragon Ball. We're going to talk about some Goku. We're going to talk about some Sun Wukong. And it's in the name. And I don't know if I want to start here, but let me just kind of set the table. But it's in the name. Dragon Balls.
Yeah.
It's all sexual energy, bro. It's all tantrum magic. So we're going to get into that. But before we begin, let's do our plugs. Follow us at The Cave. K4V3 on all social media platforms. Follow me at Joreezy, Joreeezy, and on Twitter, that's J0Reeezy, 3 E's. Make sure you guys follow O. I'm gonna hand it over to you.
Shit, follow me at OReezOfficial831 on Instagram. You feel me? Follow me on TikTok, O from the 8. Simple. You know what I mean? Shout out to the 831. Shout out to Selena's Food. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to The Cave. And follow Bentley Gang, Bentley Records. You feel me?
Hell yeah. So before we get into Dragon Ball, let me just let the audience know that we will be covering a ton of anime, because Berserk is one that is highly acclaimed. That is one filled with occult symbolism, I was told. And that's one that you've been telling me about too. So
the king of manga, bro. That is,
I heard, man.
That is peak, bro. That is peak.
Didn't a new manga just drop? New Berserk manga just drop?
Chapter? Yeah, I mean that shit drops like as frequently as maybe Hunter x Hunter drops. I mean Hunter x Hunter doesn't drop at all, so you know. I think Berserk is right next to Hunter x Hunter. But I mean, because you know, rest in peace, Kentaro Miura. You know, he passed away, and he passed away before he got to finish the project, and he handed the project down to his predecessor, and you know, everybody else that's gonna take charge of the operation. And they've been doing that. They've been releasing the chapters. I mean, you could tell that it's obvious, like kind of break away from his original kind of approach, but at the same time, they're still keeping in touch with all the elements that he set place, you know, before he passed away. So yeah, it's cool.
Right. Yeah, I think the same was with Akira Toriyama when it came to GT and some other iterations of Z. He gave him kind of the shell. He gave him the concept art, and he just had him kind of do their thing with it. Yeah, that's why I'm excited for Daima, because I heard Daima was one that he had his hand
his hand on. Yeah, he had his hand on Daima. Yeah. So that's going to be cool.
Yeah. So before we dive in, let's just kind of name some animes that we're probably going to get into, because Hunter x Hunter was one that I didn't even know was fucking deeply into conspiracies.
Oh, dude, Hunter x Hunter, like it's crazy too, because the part of Hunter x Hunter, it's weird, and that's where like my mind kind of gets into conspiracies, because you know these flat earthers, they talk about the whole ice wall and how there's land outside of the ice wall. And that's actually a concept. That's a concept that gets built in Hunter x Hunter. You know what I mean? That there's external continents that harbinge, like their harbinger of danger is like in these fucking continents, like different ways of destroying, you know, the world. Cataclysms and shit are hidden in these different lands outside. So and that's the part of Hunter x Hunter that didn't get animated.
Oh shit! So that's just kind of the manga hasn't been.
Yeah, the manga's proceeded, but the anime itself has not gotten animated, and the stopping point is right before they start exploring the dark continents, which is outside of their region. And if you look at their maps and shit, it looks just like a flat earther map.
Did he get popped or what?
Maybe you could pull it up. What's up?
Is he still alive? The creator of Hunter?
So creator of Hunter x Hunter, I forgot what his fucking name is, but or what their name is. I don't know if it's a woman or man, but I know that there's a guy because he created Yu Yu Hakusho.
Okay, I heard about that one too. That one seems
still alive. Yeah, Yu Yu Hakusho is up there with everything, with all these different ones. That's a cult. But yeah, look up the Hunter Dark Continent map. I know they got it on Google or some shit like that. Because it looked like
Yoshihiro Togashi.
Togashi. That's what his name is.
That reminded me, bro. Another one is Attack on Titan. I heard Attack on Titan had something to do with Nephilims. Giant?
It looked like it
in the giant sense, not in the interdimensional demon sense. Yeah, right. Those motherfuckers
in the transformative sense too. You know what I mean? Like because at Nephilim are just hybrids, human god hybrids, human angel hybrids, human.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Anything that's hybridized outside of the human species with a higher form, that can be, you know, kind of overlaid.
I heard, well, also in Attack on Titan, there's the external outer worlds as well, which ties into Flat Earth. Full Metal Alchemist is one that I've always pretty much bookmarked that I needed to dive into.
Everybody loved that shit.
And you know what? Some of the simple ones that people overlook, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z were ones that people overlooked as far as an anime with occult symbolism. But Pokemon, Digimon, we talked about, you know, the demonology, and I'm starting to believe that that's really what Pokemon is about, because the change of the title to Pokemon from Pocket Monsters really changes the vibe of how you take it in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, Pocket Monsters, they definitely was like, this is some demonic shit. This is not going to sell in the States. We need to come up with a different name.
Dog, when you hear Pokemon, you think Pikachu. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you hear Pocket Monsters, it sounds kind of like, you know that movie Puppet Masters? The fucking horror movie?
Puppet Masters? No, I've never seen that shit.
No, that's some old school shit, man. Look at that. Or some fucking like demonic Toy Story type shit. Pocket Monster sounds kind of sus. You'd never be like, let's go to Pocket Monster tournament.
Shit.
But I broke down Akira. That's another one too. Ghost in the Shell. So we have a fucking list, and that's kind of why we had to do this segment, because it's like, many. Bro, yeah, it's too many. It's the content makes itself, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how tapped in are these artists, dude? Like,
it's because they have all that Buddhist and all that Vedic and all that Shinto mythos, you know, highly ingrained in their culture and in their societies and in their memories and in their hearts, bro. That's why.
Yeah. Well, shit, let's dive into Dragon Ball. First of all, I never watched Dragon Ball. I went straight to Z. And then I didn't watch GT. I wasn't a fan of Super, really. But diving into this story now and kind of going back into it older, I'm appreciating the whole story. And I was told that you can't really be a fan of Goku and be a fan of his character arc without watching Dragon Ball. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the qualities you admire from Goku in Z was established in Dragon Ball. You know, he didn't really change in Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. You know what I mean?
It was weird though. I mean, in Dragon Ball Z, they took an obvious step away from their like kind of original outline for him. He was supposed to be more of a comedic character.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? In a sense, like if you look at like the first few episodes of Dragon Ball, this guy, he got his power pole, he extended, and he sent a rabbit that can turn you into carrots to the moon with his henchmen. Mm-hmm. With no astronaut gear, and they up on the moon just breathing. So it's comparable to like Looney Tunes. But as the story progresses and you leave Dragon Ball and you get into Z, it gets way more intense. I would argue the Goku in Dragon Ball Z, he's way more stern and way more intense than in any of the iterations of his character. You know what I mean?
And the argument for that is because when he goes Super Saiyan, he kind of becomes more of a Saiyan than that lighthearted person that he's, evolved into, if you will. But you're right.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball was based off Journey to the West, I believe, right? And that's kind of where the Sun Wukong inspiration comes from for Goku.
Yeah.
And then it did so well that Akira Toriyama was almost like, why wouldn't I do another project, And so he did Z, and I looked into why it was called Z. I thought there was a deeper meaning to it, but there really isn't. He named it Z because he thought that was the last chapter of the story. So, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D. But what's interesting about it is instead of pulling from Journey to the West or another story, he pulled from sci-fi films in Hollywood, like Terminator, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's another one? Arabian Nights, genies and shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then Aliens, Predator,
right.
All this shit. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, like there it kind of strayed away from the Sun Wukong archetype into, now you're Goku. Now you're Kakarot. And it's funny because the Kakarot thing, as I'm watching Dragon Ball, I'm like, damn, this motherfucker doesn't even know his name is Kakarot yet. It's crazy. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I mean, it's interesting because if you think about it, it kind of can still all make sense. Even if you have this whole, because I've always tried to bridge the gap between like science and technology and like biology and spirituality. You know what I mean? And you see that there's an obvious division in that regard when you compare Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball has all this spiritual, Eastern kind of stuff. And then Dragon Ball Z has kind of this sci-fi, post-apocalyptic kind of cyberpunk stuff.
Time traveling and shit.
Yeah, but they still find a way to make it mesh. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's so fascinating about Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball in general. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, I feel like it's filled with more Eastern mythological archetypes than like, someone based off the Terminator, which still could be based off something. You know what I mean? Like,
at the end of the day, you're looking at AI and how like archons are supposed to be some form of like microscopic AI, that control people. So,
side tangent. Terminator anime just came out too. So
yeah. Oh yeah. I just
add that to the list. Add that to the list. Well, let's start with Dragon Balls before we get into Goku, right? Because there is no Goku without the Dragon Balls. First of all, the Dragon Balls I ran into was a symbolism for the chakras, right? And there's 7 chakras. I did hear some haters say, "Oh no, it's just because the 7's a lucky number." It's like, bro, I get it, but are you really going to discount?
It's a reason why 7's a lucky number. Yeah. Like, people are stupid. There's a reason why it's a lucky number. It's not. You don't just look at something and say that's a lucky cup, and that's a lucky fucking.
I'm going all over the place. But I heard One Piece is also filled with occult symbolism.
Yeah,
and some deep lore. But why I mentioned One Piece is because the writer is still alive, and someone told me that the writer actively says where he got inspirations from, and he actually tells people, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The origins or gives them more information that they can.
Shit, Kishimoto does that. Kishimoto does that for Naruto. He tells people all the techniques are like inspired by you know, Buddhist practices and legends and stories and principles and stuff. So,
which is cool because then you can kind of really bridge the gap, and it can be less of a stretch and more of a, I knew that this was, he said it himself. That's what their origin and their inspiration was from. He presents information to kind of build the story a little more concretely, you know what I mean? Because there's actual shit and stuff you could research, you know what I mean? Opposed to these people like Akira Toriyama who kind of kept it very vague, and
sometimes he forgot what he fucking
wrote. You know what I'm saying? And did he really, bro, or is he just saying that to kind of to dumb it down? Because there is magic in that, right? As an artist, like the more someone projects their ideas, the better of an art you made. I feel like.
I think it's interesting that you're saying that because when they started writing around that time, Dragon Ball, I think, right? I guess the editorials were really hammering down on people putting like esoteric stuff in their work. Yeah. And that's why, like, for a while, stuff like Berserk wasn't surfacing, it was staying underneath the surface, kind of like in sub realms of pop culture. But so you get people like Toriyama who can kind of sneak that stuff in, sprinkle a little bit of comedy and whatnot, and paint it in a way that, it's not direct.
Right.
And that's how he was able to get his pass. That's what I'm thinking.
It's interesting because even like in anime, not all animation is the same. Like some seem more lighthearted, just like how Akira Toriyama animates Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball Z. I don't know if it's something in the eyes that make them more cartoony. You know what I mean? But there's a way of animating your art to where it kind of softens up the message, if you will. You know what I mean? Yeah. Interestingly enough.
The shapes.
But let's get into Dragon Ball. So first of all, Dragon Balls are created by Namekians, right?
So the ability to grant wishes is bestowed by reptilians.
Right. So Shenron is summoned when you have all 7 Dragon Balls. But I did this deep dive on the Dragon Balls can't survive without their creators there. That's why when Kami and Piccolo fuse or something, the Dragon Balls disappear. So wherever there are Dragon Balls present, there has to be a Namekian present, which kind of builds the theory of, I mentioned that one Yoda who kind of looks like motherfucking Piccolo, you know what I mean?
The green motherfucker. And
Namekians are interdimensional beings, and it goes back to that Elphys Levi demon that he summoned that looks like, what's his face? Yoda.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Going back to Demon King, I think there's a big connection.
That's originally what Piccolo was. He was
right.
He was a Demon King, yeah.
Right, and there's a duality too because Kami is a god, right?
Yeah.
So interdimensional demon kings, that's one. But also what's interesting is, 7's a lucky number, or is it based on the chakras? I think it is really based on the chakras because going into it and watching Dragon Ball, I'm very observant of who has the Dragon Balls because each Dragon Ball is supposed to represent a chakra point. Apparently, the 4-star Dragon Ball is the heart, right? The heart is the 4th chakra, I believe. And that's bestowed onto Goku, and Goku's supposed to be pure of heart. And there's hella symbolisms of him having pure heart. Obviously, he's not the smartest, but somehow he leads. He's the leader. He's always the go-to guy. You know what I mean? Mm. And the other side of the coin of that in Z, again, I'm always going back to Z, is the fact that he had a heart disease.
Oh, how interesting. I mean? Yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's pretty interesting. Yeah.
there's something with the heart in Goku, and obviously everybody loves Goku, dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's hella funny.
Yeah,
the motherfucker be smacking.
I don't know if the second star. I think the second star Dragon Ball was already with Bulma, which is funny because like Master Roshi gets a lot of the blame for all the horniness, you know what I mean, and the vulgarity. But Bulma was on her shit too, bro. Bulma was the one putting herself out there, bro. Bulma was willing to suck Goku's dick in order to get that 4-star Dragon Ball. Goku wasn't with it, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, she was like I'm saying, man, she had her ass on him and shit.
Goku had like baby fat on him still.
He kept
you know what I'm saying?
He curved that shit quick.
She was trying to groom.
He curved that
Goku.
shit quick.
There was some pedo activity from Bulma, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's not illegal to groom, but it's fucking
in Japan, dog, in anime.
That shit's questionable, though, bro. Like, I mean,
but here's what I'll drive home to, and this is something that I just recently put together. You know, Dragon Balls and it being about sexual energy is not a stretch because what are they trying to do? They're trying to find Dragon Balls. Bulma is trying to find Dragon Balls. And it's interesting throughout the series, Goku is always feeling up for balls too. You know what I mean? So he's trying to find some Dragon Balls as well. You know what I'm saying? So
he's always checking if someone's a dude.
Yeah, I think there's some parallelism with that. You know, they trying to find some balls. You know,
he's always trying to figure out like if he was a dude or not because he had never seen any other like sentient being aside from his grandfather, right? So he thought it was just all dudes, which is funny because I just read about something about a monk that he was secluded for his entire life. It's one of the only men on earth that have never seen a woman. So I mean that's actually like common practice, not common, but like it's happened before, like, you know, in reality.
And there's something to that because I remember where I grew up, there were all boys' school. You know what I mean? And so I just feel like there was a respect with gender, you know what I mean? One, like you obviously knew there's a difference between boy and a girl, but two, almost like that buildup of anticipation to where, you know what I mean? These days, people are so used to seeing females and seeing females naked. I feel like that contributes to the disrespect of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I see it all the time and I can see whenever. Why will I even act like a nice guy to get with you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But back then, it's like it was really rare to see females, and you have that pent up sexual energy to the point where, like, you're on your game. You know what I mean?
And you're also instilled principles that, you know, teach you to be a good person too. So then on top of that, you're like, you know, you have like charm overload probably, right? Back then, if you're brought up, you know, in a proper manner, you're gonna be having a good time.
On top of that, bro, like we didn't have access to porn that easily back when we were growing up. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was available, like in the, you know, the other branded Blockbuster, you know what I mean, home movie rental places that you had around your places.
Oh, yeah,
with the 18 and over tapes. But like, who was going in there as an 8-year-old getting 18 and older tapes? No one was. You were only really getting access to that if you had an uncle.
I was gonna say
your dad was with it, or you had a brother that was with it. You know what I mean? By yourself, being an only kid.
Shout out to the titos.
Yeah, man.
For their porn stashes.
Yeah, bro. You know what I mean? So again, like even if you are fantasizing sexual fantasies, it's your self-image, your self fantasy that you're projecting, not an image that you're taking in. You know what I mean? If you compare that to Pornhub and OF on your phone, like it's so easy to access another image to hijack your vision or mental imagery. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Should hijack space and time in your mind, bro.
So in a sense, you're almost weakening your sexual energy or tantra if that thing is a source of strength, which seems to be a source of strength, a la, for example, Master Roshi, right?
Right, because he holds his sexual energies in, and then, you know.
It's funny because you don't even really you don't respect Master Roshi until you watch Dragon Ball. these motherfuckers are like traveling to be trained by Roshi, and Roshi doesn't even give a fuck. He's just trying to like get more dirty magazines and see who you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. He already been there, done that. He gonna enter a few fights, get some money so he can have some thotties on him.
Yeah, man. I'm right now in Dragon Ball. I'm at the part where he entered the tournament to try to.
That's why
you know what I'm saying.
Master Roshi kept it a buck. Like most men on planet Earth, we're doing the things that we're doing so we can acquire as many women as we can, bro. That's just how it is. And I'm not saying like that you're trying to like have sexual intimacy with all these women. Sometimes you just have a whole bunch of women.
Yeah, and he kind of kept it respectful. You know,
that's what I'm saying.
Respectful pervert. He would swag you out and then ask you like, "Hey, man, can I just
like what's up? You know,
can I just cop a feel, please?"
I mean, he's cordial with it, I guess, not just grabbing away. That's hella funny though.
Oh man, yeah, that shit's funny. But yeah, I think there's something with sexual energy. Obviously, another thing that I kind of connected was the fact that I didn't know in Dragon Ball that the power pole kind of connected above to below. You know,
yeah.
I guess it shot up and it hit the tower, right? What's the tower called? Where Kami's Lookout?
Oh yeah, Kami's Lookout. Yeah.
So I was also thinking.
Actually, it's Korin's Tower, right? I think isn't Korin's Tower a part of the Kami's Lookout? Or
I think Korin's Tower is below Kami's Lookout.
Yeah,
it's like the lobby.
You should have pulled up the Dragon Ball Z map, bro. They have a crazy ass world map, which is so fucking insane when you look at it.
Yeah,
and it shows you it shows you everything, bro. Like,
let me pull this up right now. But it's funny because I'm like, power pole extending to connect as above, so below. The power pole kind of seems like a boner, you know?
I mean, yeah, there's all types of fucking symbolism in that regard. No,
I'm saying it to me, if Akira Toriyama is a punny guy, then that doesn't end, dude. There's gonna be puns on puns on puns on puns, you know?
Do the universe one.
Dragon Ball Z universe map.
Yeah. That shit looks there you go.
This one right here?
No, the globes.
This one right here, the middle.
The globes, yeah, or the one to the left primarily, because it's gonna label it, or whatever's labeled. Do you feel me?
This was in
the Japanese one, huh? Oh no, this English. I mean, yeah, so you could see like I think they have, I'm not sure if they put the towers on there, but I mean kind of just shows you how it's layered.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Like they depict their whole universe as a globe, and then they depict heaven, hell, and the planets and the galaxies all in that one.
But time out. Let's look at this Earth model. It is a globe, but it is on a flat surface.
Yeah, essentially
with the firmament, right?
Yeah.
So like we're all right and we're all wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it could. That's how I feel. I feel that simultaneously we are on a flat Earth and on a round Earth.
Interesting.
That's my take on it. Like, you know,
yeah, this might be it, dog. This might be it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I wanted to show you this, because when I saw this, I was like, hold the fuck up, bro. They got Earth floating in this firmament, and then underneath the firmament is, you know, it's like it's a dome. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the Earth itself is not the dome, but the Earth is inside of one.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, since I did this deep dive into Akira, I was researching sonoluminescence, and it's when a bubble like collapses in itself and a light, you know what I mean? Light emits from it. And it made me think about Terrence Howard's bubble theory, and I just feel like there is something to that, and I think that's why things are circular. Just the shape of bubbles and why things are round. You know what I mean?
No, but you're saying that regular bubbles were collapsing, and it was, you could see light emitting.
Yeah, let me show you. Let me show you that shit. It's called sonoluminescence. So apparently, what happens is they found out about it through mantis shrimp, and mantis shrimp have these like crazy claws, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess when they snap their claws with so much pressure that it creates a bubble. And when the bubble pops, like there's a flash of light that happens too because of
the energy.
Yeah, the energy and it kind of imploding in itself. And going back to Ocean Gate, right? We're talking about whether it imploded or it just imploded into another dimension type shit. Kind of like what Akira did to Tetsuo in Akira.
Yeah, into another dimension. I'm weak. And, that certainly did happen.
You never know, man.
What dimension they were sent to, that can be argued.
Here we go. Shout out to Derek Padula. Derek Padula is a Dragon Ball scholar, and he responded to my message. So we're going to book him, try to get him into occult anime. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, there's a few heads that we should get in here that we should try.
There are Dragon Ball scholars, yo. What the fuck is that?
Mm-hmm. There's a guy named Geekdom. He's pretty good.
That shit's funny, man.
An imploding bubble. So my question is, what is the difference between this bubble and regular bubbles, and why is this bubble creating implosions of light? Is it because of the it's underwater?
So sonoluminescence is a phenomenon that occurs when a small gas bubble is acoustically suspended and periodically driven in a liquid solution and ultrasonic frequency, resulting in bubble collapse, cavitation, and light emission. So I think it has to be either popped with a sound or created by a sound, opposed to air. You know what I mean?
A bubble created through vibration.
Which is funny because it also brings credence to the Big Bang, right?
Yes, that's quite interesting. A bubble created from vibration.
Yeah, man.
Interesting indeed.
Well, it's funny because it gets into the chi and the blasts.
They do look like bubbles, and they control them like bubbles.
And essentially, you kind of have to scream in order to emit them, right? Like come here!
You have to basically resonate some kind of frequency, right? Yeah, they're screaming.
So I don't know. I just feel like, just to leave off the sexual energy, one, there is a lot of sexual energy and you know what I mean, tantra in Dragon Ball. Another one that I'll mention is, what's her name? Ranfam, when she fought Nam. Like she stripped, bro.
Mm-hmm. No,
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
He literally stripped to try to tempt this Indian dude fighting for his starving village, bro. And he almost folded, bro.
I mean, shit.
Which goes into my next thing. Let's talk about this, and then we'll wrap up with Sun Wukong and Goku. Is meditation. Meditation is so important in Dragon Ball and in Dragon Ball Z and in Super, because meditation might have been what was the difference maker between Jiren and Goku, and why Goku was able to tap in to Ultra Instinct, right?
You think that the meditation kept Jiren from reaching those heights? That's what you're saying?
Well, I just feel like Goku was seeing it all wrong. He was seeing it as training, repetition, getting stronger. And less of like,
So Jiren taught him
staying into. No, I think Master Roshi reminded him, and then that was what made him kind of shift a gear and be able to keep up with Jiren.
Yeah,
right. Because Jiren knew Ultra Instinct as well, right?
No, he didn't actually.
He learned later.
No, Jiren had no form of Ultra Instinct whatsoever. He just was extremely disciplined as a fighter. He was so disciplined as a fighter and so meditative as a fighter. He had a heightened awareness, bro. He had a heightened awareness of what he was capable of doing and what all of his opponents were capable of doing, on top of just being strong. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think. He just had a super heightened awareness, bro. He could hit you without even fucking moving.
What I didn't find out until now, the connection that someone told me. First of all, what's interesting is when Goku goes Ultra Instinct, he doesn't turn Super Saiyan. He has the regular hair, right? Which kind of alludes to the fact that like he's so in touch with his senses that's where the power comes from, right? He doesn't need to externally transform. And they also said that back in Z during the Buu saga, when Gohan turned Mystic Gohan, that was a form of Ultra Instinct as well. That's why he didn't go Super Saiyan and he was still strong as fuck. You know what I mean?
So if I'm correct, Gohan had his potential unlocked several times,
right?
And that's why he was able to reach those levels without having to transform. And then the thing with Goku is the Ultra Instinct. It's not even a transformation. It's a technique, and it's kind of like the Kaioken almost. In that sense, it's a technique that's taught. It's not a transformative ability.
Right.
Yeah.
It's almost like flow state, right?
It is flow state.
Would you say?
It's with it,
right.
being able to react.
Going back to Dragon Ball, there's a scene too where Goku fights Mr. Popo. And Mr. Popo is teaching Goku how to meditate, right? Isn't he chucking shit at Goku?
Right.
Try to make him dodge it with his eyes closed. But fucking yeah, Mr. Popo can swallow Kamehamehas. That guy can fight, bro. It's there's a part of me that thinks that if he stepped down and fucked with Cell in the Cell games, he could have shut that shit down real quick. You know what I mean? But he's a watcher, so he just stood back.
Yeah, he is a watcher.
Say that Mr. Popo knew Ultra Instinct. That's why he didn't need to transform, and he was already strong the way he was to the point where he could keep up with anybody. You know,
I guess in that sense, if you know Ultra Instinct and you at that point you're just stacking Ultra Instinct on top of your base level or whatever the case may be, and if your base level is at a certain point, then you could be like Master Roshi, who is achieving Ultra Instinct, but of course he's not going to be able to beat Jiren with his Ultra Instinct. Does that make sense? Because it's a technique. Yeah. It's not a. It's a technique. It's not a transformation. So therefore, it varies between each person.
Well, would you say it's a technique, or would you say it's a mind state? You know what I mean?
Both. I would say that,
like, you know, it's not necessarily confidence, but almost like
it's a state of being.
Nothing to lose. Sure. Yeah, nothing to lose type shit. Like I am.
No, it's
like Bruce Lee. Like Bruce Lee, there is no way type shit, right?
I would go as far as to say that there's nothing.
Yeah.
But there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing in that state of mind. It's just survival. You know what I mean? And that's what instinct is survival. So when you're geared towards survival, you're going to do things without thinking. And then you have to have mastery over your body without thought. That's the whole concept.
And interesting, that's kind of the connection that I was told to about Sun Wukong and Goku. There's a bunch of parallelisms, like the cloud, right? Sun Wukong has his own cloud. Goku has the Nimbus. Sun Wukong has the staff that transforms and get bigger and get small. I think sometimes he keeps it as a hair pick, right? And then pulls it out, fucks people up with it. Just pretty badass. And Goku has the power pole. Sun Wukong has to collect a bunch of, is it Buddhist scrolls?
Shit, don't quote me on it. I can't remember exactly. There's many stories of Sun Wukong. So
right, and we talked about Hanuman as well, right? Mm-hmm. Hanuman doesn't necessarily have a lot of parallelisms to Goku, but it's interesting that Sun Wukong came from Hanuman. So if you want to research Hanuman, go research Hanuman. But we're not going to talk about it because there's not a lot of similarities to Goku. I wouldn't even say the mace is a symbolism for the stick or the pole, because I think that's a whole another weapon, right?
Right.
Almost like a hammer, I would say, because it's got that heavy weighted tip or end.
Yeah.
But Sun Wukong is empty-minded, and that is why he's wise, right? Which you can also metaphorically compare to Goku, who's empty-minded but somewhat smart. You know, and some people, by these standards, it's interesting. The only times people think he's stupid are when he's in a crowd and when there's people that you could say have a common sense of social situations.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to a monk, he's not really doing anything stupid. He's kind of childlike in a sense. You know what I mean?
I think he would fit right in with secular monks, to be honest with you.
Right. So it actually tripped me out that, you know, it took a while for him to learn Ultra Instinct because I felt like he would be able to learn it fast because he was already empty-minded.
I think that's because of his Saiyan rage.
I think it's because of his joy. He loves fighting so much that it's almost like a kid who gets excited. You know what I mean?
Right, but that joy. Remember, he hit his head.
Yeah, he did.
So right. There was a rewiring that happened in his synapses, in his neural network. You know, the neuroplasticity. The electricity suddenly started firing opposite direction. But originally, he was a raging monster. You know what I mean? So all of that energy that's being directed towards being a raging monster got redirected towards being a happy-go-lucky boy that just wants to fight. So that rage is still there. It just got redirected.
Bro, not only that, like, broke my heart when I found out that he was the one that killed his grandpa. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, he stomped that motherfucker, bro.
Shit, man. Well, you know what? Let's wrap it up with that. Occult Anime is going to keep going. We'll probably cover some other aspects. I do want to get into Piccolo. I don't have much to say about Piccolo, but from what we covered, I think we can build another episode on Piccolo. And Krillin, too. I made this post about Krillin having no nose, and that might be an allude to people with Arainia. You know, people are saying, no, it's because he had no nose. Akira Toriyama forgot. But I also watched the Dragon Ball episode where he fought Bacterium, dude. You know what I mean?
Right.
He realized that he had no nose. And when he realized he had no nose, and it didn't affect him. So, again, your mind is a powerful thing. But it also, in the story, acknowledged that, yeah, he doesn't have a nose.
Right. So, I mean, it could have been, I don't know. We'll never know because, you know, Toriyama will never answer those questions. And sometimes he forget to answer himself. Shout out to Toriyama.
Yeah, bro. I heard he forgot Launch. I think I heard that someone asked him about Launch and where she's at in Dragon Ball Super. And he's like, oh, I forgot about her.
Yeah. Oh, see, he always forgot. And, you know,
again, could be playing dumb. You know what I mean? I don't know. But shit.
Rest in peace, man.
Follow us at the cave. Get more updates. Follow me, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out. We'll see you on the Cave Podcast at Inside the Cave. I don't even know.
Stay ninja.
Catch you later.